They're uptight and successful. He's a tramp and fancy-free. Movie comedy it is tonight at 9 in Down and Out in Beverly Hills.
In this week's I Dare You, the Ultimate Challenge, daredevil Jimmy Lynn Davis plummeted from the sky when his kite cycle jump went wrong. So we've dared stuntman Bob Carell to make history by jumping his kite cycle over 4 huge trucks. Can he set a new world record? Plus, stuntman George Novak attempts a death-defying jump in an ambulance. That's tonight on I Dare You, the Ultimate Challenge. Here's the scene in Kingman, Arizona, where daredevil Bob Crazy Carell is about to attempt to fly his kite cycle over 4 huge trucks. Here's how the stunt is designed to work. Bob will be riding a modified 1976 Yamaha motorcycle. It's fitted with a small hang glider that's 12 feet long with a 16-foot wingspan. Bob will rocket down a 600-foot-long runway at 90 miles an hour, then launch himself off this 7-foot 2-inch high ramp that's only 3 feet wide. Then he'll attempt to fly over 4 70-foot-long trucks and land safely on the other side. The total distance of the jump is 280 feet, but the most difficult challenge will be to keep the kite cycle high enough to clear the trucks. Now let's find out more about high-flying daredevil Bob Carell. He's got the best kite cycle qualifications in the business.
I got involved in the kite cycle basically through hang gliding. Started hang gliding back in the early 70s. Loved it. Flew every weekend, every place I could. But I wanted somehow to get paid to play, the ultimate.
Bob's high-flying career didn't get started until he learned about a machine that combined his 2 passions, hang gliding and motorcycle riding.
Found out about a man who developed the kite cycle. And there were some hang glider pilots that had tried it. And there were some serious injuries.
But Bob knew he could be the king of the kite cycle. All he needed was a chance to prove it.
I had never jumped over anything. And we were just looking through bookings, and I jumped over a bunch of new Toyotas, the Toyota dealership in Pinellas, Florida. And I made it. And we were off and running.
Bob's career took off in a big way. Throughout the 70s, he dazzled audiences at home in America and overseas.
Back in its heyday, from the 76 into the early 80s, I was on tour 6 to 8 months a year, jumping virtually every weekend at some place.
He even took the kite cycle to Hollywood, performing on TV shows including Chips. But unfortunately, Bob didn't always have happy landings.
I quit 3 times because it's so dangerous. I was seriously injured in 1977 on a dirt track in Pennsylvania on this very motorcycle. I didn't get over the truck. I went to the back of one of the semis. I ended up in a major operation and I died on the operating table twice, the doctor told me. I was in a coma for 2 weeks, broke 17 bones, had 3 major operations, spent over 3 months in the hospital in Pennsylvania.
It was a long road to recovery, but Bob wasn't ready to give up the work he loved.
And I've been doing it off and on ever since. But like I said, I quit because it is so dangerous, and I keep coming back to it because I like it.
Well, like it or not, Bob knows he faces many dangers in today's jump.
According to Bob, one of the most dangerous things about the kite cycle jump is not in the air. It's actually when he's on the ground racing towards this ramp at 90 miles an hour. He's going to have to control a bike that has got a 16-foot wide kite on it. It's going to be very difficult to control. And as he's traveling for 600 feet towards the ramp, when he gets to the 300-foot point, that is known as the point of no return. After that, there is no going back. He's got to make the jump whether he's going to hit that ramp right or not. He is committed.
The wind It blew me over a couple of times, just making turns. Half the battle is getting to the ramp. I keep my weight forward. To notice I'm leaning forward over the handlebars to keep the weight on the handlebars, and I bring the throttle in gradually. If I hit it hard, I can bring the front end up, the sail will catch some air, and it'll lift off the ground.
A premature liftoff could send Bob sailing out of control and into disaster. But the most important factor is the unpredictable wind.
Wind is my enemy. because of the kite, obviously the wind will affect the kite, and it could blow me up. Getting to the ramp is the most difficult part of the stunt. Ramp's only 3 feet wide. If the gust of wind hits me offline, if I miss the ramp, I'm in serious hurt.
In order to make it over the trucks, the kite cycle will need an enormous amount of thrust at liftoff.
These trucks are 13.5 feet high. I need to gain that altitude to clear the first full trailer. There's no instruments. It's all just by feel and sound and just awareness.
Speed will be the key to a good takeoff.
A kite's a small kite. As a hang glider, it can only carry 40 pounds. But it's carrying close to 400 pounds. So, stall speed at 56 miles an hour, it just falls out of the sky. The sail can't hold it up any longer. And that has happened a few times also.
Stunt coordinator Joe Scorpin says that's not all Bob is up against.
Well, the danger obviously is going to either him going short or making the landing and bouncing when he comes down, just coming down too hard. He can't bail. He can't bail out once he's in the air, and that's one of the things I asked him. Can he just take it off of the course, away from the trucks, and bring it to the ground? And he said no. So wherever he ends up, he's going to have to ride it out.
Riding it out could mean a rough landing for Bob, but he's used to it.
They're all hard landings because I bottom out everything. There are dents on the top of the fuel tank and my chest hitting it more than once. But any landing you can ride away from is a good one.
Bob is taking a few practice runs to warm up the bike. Remember, in order to take off, Bob's got to reach a speed of 90 miles an hour before he hits the ramp. That's a dangerous speed on a kite cycle because anything can happen. If Bob shifts his weight back, or if he pulls on his handlebars and wheelies, the kite can pull the bike off the ground. He's also got to deal with even the slightest crosswind, which could blow him off course or cause him to crash. What makes this stunt even more dangerous is that Bob is gauging his speed by instinct and experience alone. He's not using a speedometer. It looks like he's happy with his practice runs, and Tyler is with him now.
We are ready to roll with the incredible kite cycle. Bob is getting into position here as I try to get under this kite. Bob, ready to roll. Any last words before we do it? He's got nothing to say. He wants to get this thing done. Bob, Crazy Corral is off and running, and the main reason he wants to get off and running behind me here is because if that wind picks up again, this stunt may not happen.
So while Bob makes his final preparations for the stunt, let's take a look at another kite cycle jump, one that ended in disaster. For stuntman Jimmy Lynn Davis, danger is a way of life, but one world record attempt nearly cost him his life. Dallas, Texas. Jimmy is preparing to perform his signature stunt, the kite cycle jump. Like Bob Carell's kite cycle, it's a cross between a motorcycle and a hang glider. And when the conditions are right, it can soar incredible distances. Jimmy is planning to jump over 2 trucks, even though strong crosswinds threaten to make the stunt even riskier than usual.
The big danger with the kite cycle was the unpredictability of the wind.
Ladies and gentlemen, a 10th moment for Jimmy Lynn Davis. We ask for your silence as this world record attempt is about to be performed on the world's only kite cycle.
Jimmy considers backing out, but he doesn't want to disappoint the 17,000 eager spectators.
The wind almost knocked me off the motorcycle. And I thought, well, okay, I'm experienced enough, I can do this.
So Jimmy goes for it.
Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. The fireworks at Jimmy Lynn Davis.
He flies into the air, but then disaster. Watch again. Jimmy soars off the ramp, but a powerful gust knocks him off course.
The kite suddenly went sideways, and I said, uh-oh.
Jimmy plummets 45 feet to the concrete and is crushed under his 300-pound bike.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll ask everyone to stay in your positions as we will be checking on Jimmy Davis. He's still laying down there.
I broke every bone on the left side of my body except my arm. And the only reason I didn't break my arm is because I still had a hold of the motorcycle when I hit the ground. It's like it didn't kill me, which it could have.
It takes a year and a half for Jimmy to recover from his injuries. Looking back, he says making the jump was a big mistake.
If something doesn't feel right, then chances are it's not going to be right.
Jimmy learned the hard way that you can't predict the outcome of a kite cycle jump. All you can do is hold on and hope for the best. Coming up, the moment of truth for Bob Carell as he attempts to jump his kite cycle over 4 huge trucks. Plus, Daredevil Rich Hopkins takes bungee jumping to a fiery extreme. And stunt driver George Novak deliberately crashes a 30,000-pound ambulance. That's coming up on I Dare You, the ultimate challenge. Kingman, Arizona, where Daredevil Bob Crazy Carell has accepted our challenge to fly his kite cycle over 4 huge trucks. It looks like he's giving Tyler a sign, which means it's showtime.
He's just given me the thumbs up. That means he's ready to rock and roll. Now, he doesn't want to waste any time because the winds out there have been a big problem all day. Even though there is a strong tailwind that will be pushing Bob as he flies over these trucks, there is a concern that the wind won't fill the kite enough to give him the lift that he needs. Remember, he's trying to fly 280 feet over the 4 tractor trailers, which are 13.5 feet tall. He's at the starting line, and he's off. Bob's got 600 feet of runway here to get that kite cycle up to 90 miles per hour. The fireworks are lit, and that means he's in 3rd gear. There goes Bob Crazy Carell. No, sir. No. Oh, no, he's down. He slammed into the cab of the last truck, and that sent him crashing into the ground. I'm going to try and get over there. The safety crew is in right away to put out the fireworks. That's a dangerous situation right there. We're hoping Bob is okay. They've got to get that 300-pound bike off of him. Wow, he hit that pavement really hard. Our cameras are going to hang back for a moment while the paramedics check him out. Bob's obviously in a world of pain right now. Stunt coordinator Joe Scorpion, a veteran stuntman and emergency technician, is with him. Bob couldn't be in better hands. It looks like he's trying to get to his feet, and that, of course, is a good sign.
It'll be a few moments before Tyler can speak to Bob, so let's take another look at that rough landing. Everything seems okay as Bob hits the ramp, but he's clearly going much slower than he hoped. He was clocked at only 63 miles an hour on takeoff, and it was all downhill from there. Bob only flew about 200 feet before he slammed down on the 3rd truck and crashed onto the cab of the 4th. The good news, though, is that he's on his feet.
Bob, obviously not successful. What happened out there?
The winds, I had too much tailwind. I wasn't going fast. I didn't get the lift. Obviously, I just didn't get the lift.
What was going through your head as you're doing the stunt? When did you know it wasn't going the way you wanted it
I
to?
left the ramp. As soon as I left the ramp, it didn't pop up high enough. Normally, should go up and carry a lot. I don't know why. I don't know why it did that.
Bob, let's talk about the tumble. A nasty little fall. You said it was going to be a difficult landing. What happened?
What? Not enough speed. Let's just pull the wheels over there, guys.
Bob Crazy Carell, obviously in a lot of pain. Your shoulder?
Yeah, my right shoulder just bruised. It's like, not broken. It just hurts. I was kind of just mad at myself. And not making it. I want to get my helmet off.
Okay, helmet coming off, Bob. You want to pick it up?
You're getting the helmet off there, Bob. Crazy Corral. He just wants that thing off.
No, the only pain is right here. I'm so mad at myself.
Bob Carell is in a lot of pain, and it's not just his shoulder that's hurting him, it's also his pride. He's upset that he didn't make the jump. The emergency crew has got him onto the stretcher and they're putting him into the ambulance. Tyler is standing by with Joe Scorpin, our I Dare You stunt coordinator.
Joe, obviously not the outcome we were looking for. Bob says the wind played a major part in this.
Yeah, the problem was tailwind gusted on us. We were hoping not to have anything over 5 miles an hour. We went with a 7-mile-an-hour tailwind, and the problem was the sail never filled. If you watch your playback, what happened was it pushed him down as he went into the air, so didn't get any lift. So knocked him into the second box and into the cab on this thing. I actually thought he was going to pull it out there at the end. He started to straighten the thing out. It's like, oh man, he's going to nail his landing anyway, but wasn't to be. So,
are you surprised at all at the damage that this bike has left behind, in this semi-trailer here?
Not really. You figure if he's going over 65, 70 miles an hour, I mean that's to be expected. I mean, you think about hitting a deer, on the freeway, it's the same thing. It's going to demolish the front end of your car. So. Luckily, it was ramped up a little bit there, which launched him back into the air. It wasn't a flat surface that he went into. He got lucky. He's got a dislocated right shoulder. Doesn't look like anything's broken, but of course, without an X-ray, we won't know. He's got good circulation and everything to his hand and all, so there's no problem there. No neck or back. We got lucky.
Let's take one last look at that impact. Some more speed and some more height, and he would have made it. But as Bob says, any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. And we've just been told that he will be okay. Now let's check out another amazing stunt. George Novak has performed dangerous car stunts for thrill shows and movies, including the Mad Max films. But today he's going to crash test a new type of ambulance for local authorities.
They asked me if I could test drive it for them at a high speed impact to see if it would withstand the reinforcements that they made for it.
Trying to make their ambulances safer, officials in Victoria, Australia redesigned their emergency vehicles with roll cages. They hope passengers inside will be protected in a violent crash.
They put 3 sets of roll bars around the outside of the ambulance and reinforced underneath. It was probably about a $45,000 to $50,000 vehicle, and here I am getting ready to smash it up.
But will it withstand a rollover at 60 miles an hour? There's only one way to find out. George suits up and climbs into the ambulance. He accelerates and barrels towards a ramp at breakneck speed. Then he crashes with tremendous force, rolling over and over. We can see that now from another angle. The ramp launches the ambulance into a series of violent spirals.
I think I managed to count to about 3.5, and then I was wondering when it's going to stop. I think they actually told me that I actually went through about 9.12 Joules of force. And they said I could have blacked out and didn't even know it, but I don't think so, because I try and count the rolls as I was going.
After 5 complete rotations, the ambulance comes to a halt. Rescue crews race to George, and incredibly, he walks away without injury.
I didn't get any damage to myself after that stunt. I just got a bit of a scratch from some glass, and that's all there was.
George owes his survival to the vehicle's new design.
Even I was amazed that the whole thing stayed together. I was a little bit sceptic about it.
Later, engineers analyze the crash and inspect the damage. The test is declared a success.
Anything we do towards safety and things like that, I think it's all a worthy cause. I think it helps to save a few lives out there, even if it's one.
George is proud to have put his life on the line to save others. Daredevil Rich Hopkins doesn't just live his life on the edge. He jumps right over it.
I don't think I'm psycho or insane or crazy. I just, I dig doing what I do.
When Rich isn't working as a Hollywood stuntman, he runs a very unusual business. For a fee, he takes his clients on a variety of daring adventures. Everything from paragliding to rock climbing to bungee jumping.
I'm like a multi-sport type of an athlete.
Rich says he literally has a burning desire for danger.
I think fire kind of intrigues me,
Las Vegas, Nevada. Rich is about to attempt the world's first flaming bungee jump. He'll be set on fire and then take an 80-foot leap into a pool. To protect himself, Rich has his body coated with flame-retardant gel, but he still runs the risk of burning alive.
The key to the jump was getting into the water because I didn't want to go halfway and still be on fire on my rebound.
It's the moment of truth, and Rich is set on fire.
They told me to go, and I don't even think I heard them until they said go, go, go like a couple other times.
Finally, he jumps. He hits the water, and the flames are out. Let's take another look. Thanks to his precise planning, the bungee cord stretches out just far enough to submerge Rich underwater for long enough to douse the flames.
If I jumped out too far, I would have nailed my head on the side of the pool and we would have had all kinds of problems.
He knows his careful planning is the reason that he survived the fiery plunge.
Nobody that I know in my field wants to die. We want to entertain and provide awesome excitement, but we don't want to die.
Incredibly, Rich Hopkins has cheated death again. You can bet that this brave daredevil will continue to put his life on the line.
I don't think it's crazy at all. I mean, I enjoy making a living at what I'm good at, and it's way better than, busting tables somewhere.
Easy way to make a living. Sat here watching telly's one. There's more stunt silliness next Monday evening at 8. Now then, has everything and his wife has everything too? Well, that's our movie tonight. And Richard Dreyfuss, Bette Midler and Nick Nolte...